Hey everybody, this is Monkeypuzzle, and welcome to episode number 29, playing the Direwolf20 pack for Minecraft 1.7.10 here on the Primus server. And today we're going to start the bees and maybe get into the trees a bit, like I said I was last episode. There's a lot to do, and there's different levels we can take it to, so let's just see how far we can get on today's Bee-ginnings. So these are really cool. Just real briefly, why I want to get into the bees is some people think they're dull, some people love them. They're definitely another mini game for modded Minecraft, and I like it for that. But my primary incentive to do the bees is that they are the entry to getting, I think it's 72, ooh, a little warp and rain, wow. 72 kinds of new trees, which I think is cool. They'll give us new building blocks, new colors that we can build stuff in, as far as fences and a lot of the things made out of wood. And it just will beautify the world. And with the bees and the trees come butterflies. I just think that's too cool. And there's all kinds of butterflies as well. And when we get into the botany, there's new kinds of flowers. So my primary incentive is decorative, which, you know, is cool for me. And then other things is that the bees all can give you different products. So almost anything you need, you can get from bees. You can get ores, you can get fuels, you can get lava. You know, I've like made myself a rule that I'm not using lava as a power source in this pack right now. But what if I use the bees to get it? Would that make it challenging enough? So there's all kinds of levels you can take it to. There's certain things you can make with the bee products you can't make otherwise, like oversized backpacks that come with forestry, and so on and so on. And with Benny's mods, it takes it to a new level. We can even be using the fruits of and the nuts of all these different trees and making ourselves brandies and wines and liquors even. I don't know what those will do for you in Minecraft, but hey. Anyway, so we got to start, and I'm going to start here. But actually, I am going to wait till I can sleep and turn this rain off. I waited for a perfect day, but let me just get this rain gone, and we shall begin and see how far we get. Okay, it's the next day sometime about noon, and hopefully we can get some clear weather from here. So to start the bees, we need some bees, and I have been busy collecting them. Busy, for sure. But I can't just type bees into here. They're all in my AE system, by the way, because they're classified as either drones or princesses. So for drones, the male bees, I've got all these guys. The rocky drones you get from underground, from quarrying, and so you're always going to have a ton of those, and those are useful because besides drones you can get princesses, and to carry on a line of bees you have to have princesses, and you cannot make more princesses. You can make tons of drones, but the number of princesses you start with is the number of princesses you will always have for the most part. Except that, and I'm leaping ahead already here, they come in two kinds, this pristine stock and this ignoble stock. And the ignoble ones will actually die over time and you won't have a princess, whereas the pristine, you will. Now, where do you get these? Well, before I start grabbing bees out of here, let me grab a scoop. And I've got an old beat up one here, but let me just show you how to make one. It's just like that, a piece of wool in the middle of, what is that, 6 sticks? These don't last too long. There is a thaumium version that we could make. I won't get the recipe here if I click on it. And we will get one of those. And the way to do it really is to get a thaumium scoop and then enchant it with repair, with the infusion enchanting, which we will do. But that's outside of the scope of today because I'm not going to have enough time to get into a lot of this stuff already. So I went ahead and I marked, oops, I was going to show you where these bees come from in the world, and there's all the common bees that are generated in the world. I marked this one with a piece of glowstone just so I could find it with you guys. At night, these actually glow and give off light themselves. So this white one is a forest bee's hive, and if you break it with a scoop, you actually get bees and honeycomb. So I got a forest princess of pristine stock. That's lucky. And a forest drone of an unknown genome. There's a lot of stuff we don't know about this one's genome either. I'm surprised it tells you pristine or ignoble straight off the bat. And we get a honeycomb. So that gets us started. And there is a certain number of kinds of bees you can find like that just with the world generation. And it also depends on whether you have the magic bees installed, which we do. So if I go back here, now that I've did that little precursor and shown you where I've gotten most of these bees, let's look at our princesses again. And I haven't collected every kind you can get so far, and this one is leaping ahead. It usually takes some breeding to get there. But forest and meadows, which one's meadows? I forget actually. Oh, the red ones, right. It's been since, one little disclaimer is it's been since 1.5 since I've done bees. So some of this I'm going to be reminding myself what I need to do, but I have tried to brush up a little bit. But usually people start by crossbreeding forest princesses and meadows, or crossing meadows and forest with a combination of either princesses or drones. Let's go ahead and grab these right now while I'm in here. I'm going to leave the ignoble stock alone. Oh yeah, and they don't stack in my inventory. I forgot that part. So that's pristine. And actually reminds me of one thing I could make that's going to help us with this. There's several things you could do. We could make the apiarist chest right here, which stores a good amount of bees. Why don't we go ahead and make one of those, because those are pretty useful. We could make an apiarist backpack, which does that too, except you carry it around with you. Although it doesn't hold nearly as many as the apiarist chest does. And now with Binny's mods, which we have installed here, Binny's mods are basically the next level up from forestry. Forestry comes with bees and this basic stuff. Binny's mods added all the extras of them. And in Binny's mods, in the core, there's a new chest called Compartments, which are these. Now, I haven't made these yet. Let's just check these out. So a compartment is made like that. So we need some buttons in here apparently. So let's make a button out of stone, or a bunch of buttons. I'm not sure if we're going to need this for each round or not. Let's just do that and have lots of buttons forever. So let's get back to compartments. These guys here. So let's make the first basic one, the wood one. And if we put that down and look at it, you'll see it's got different tabs. Each tab has 25 slots associated with it. So we could say that this first tab is about, I thought you could put a picture in here. Do I right click it? Huh. Anyway, we could call this, these are, let me see, forest, or maybe just common bees, or no, these are called mundane bees, the ones that generate with the world. So let's call this mundane bees, and the icon, oh, let me see, maybe I can do it here. There we go. We get that, and we can give it a color. Bees should be like gold or yellow or something like that. We can make these all different kinds of bees. There's all kinds of different ways we can do it, but these are really handy for basically categorizing things in a chest, okay? So that is the most basic level of compartment, and let's take it all the way up. Let's throw that back in there and get back to compartments, because I think these may come in handy for keeping track of all these bees, because I don't want to just keep throwing them into the ME system. Maybe I should, but let me just move my way up here real quick, and I'll just fast forward this and we'll make it all the way to the diamond compartment. So see you in a second. One little lesson I learned just now making them is that they each use the other, except that the iron uses the copper. So skip the bronze because you'll get stuck in the progression. So I'm going to start that over again. See you in a sec. Okay, there we go. We made it all the way up to the diamond compartment. So this has 8 tabs and they have all these slots each. So this may or may not come in handy for a way to keep the bees organized. And it breaks with a pick real easy. So let's just put that over here. And I just wanted to show you that because that's a neat thing that comes with the Benny's core. So let's breed some bees. We got a bunch of forest princesses here. I'm going to throw them in here for now, actually. And let's grab some of the meadows bees. Oh, wait, I need some forest drones, too. So let's go back to forest and get some drones. We don't know what the genome of these is yet. So let's grab some of each. Oh, and the drones do stack if they're of similar genome, or basically exactly the same genome. And that's all pristine. Now, how do we know as we do this? Well, we need something else. We need the Bee-elizer. So let's make one of those. Now, the Bee-elizer goes like this. And we have to make it in the carpenter over there. We're going to need some tin, some glass panes, some redstone, and some diamonds. So let's grab that stuff first. We need some tin. Right here we got plenty of that, and some panes. Oops. Need 2 of those. And we got some diamonds right here, actually. And I think it was 2. And we need some redstone. So let's grab that. And now to make the carpenter work, it's got to be full of water. So let's make an easy way to do that, which I've been really liking the reservoirs from Ender.io for dealing with water. I need to make another piece of fuse quartz or 7. Be right back. Okay, I'm back and I've got my 4 reservoirs now. So let's go ahead and just set this up behind this carpenter here, which I reserved for water. These are conduit facades right here, but I bet I could actually sneak this under here. And then we can, let's see, that's cobble. Oops. Oh, I could just get, well, I can get under here. And we can just hide these underneath. Get a piece of cobble there and there. And if I just take 2 water buckets, boink and boink, this should now become an infinite source of water. And let's just hook that into the carpenter with some pressurized fluid conduit. And oh, I forgot to show you the apiary's chest too. Remind me to do that in a minute. So I'll stick one of those in there and say extract. And now we got water in the carpenter. So that's excellent. So now we can put that recipe in here for the Bee-elizer, which was something like this with the glass panes. And now it can make this. Oh yeah, and I forget, the carpenter works by, these are just ghosted ingredients, and you got to put the stuff you actually need down below there. And then it will use that up. So I could make as many Bee-elizers as I wanted to right now, but I think we only need 1 to start with. So let's go ahead and just let that make. Okay, there it is. We have our very first Bee-elizer on this map. Now, we can't just go ahead and throw bees in it yet, or we can, but won't do a whole lot. Let's grab this forest princess right here, for instance, and try to throw her in there, which we can do, but it needs a honey drop to work. So now we need to do something else. We need to get honey drops. So let's go in here and get some of our comb that I've collected while I was gathering all the bees in the world. And let's throw it in here in the centrifuge. And I made all this stuff last episode. If you throw honeycomb in a centrifuge, it spins the comb into several component products. You get beeswax. Right now, these honey drops are what we really want. And depending on the kind of comb, that depends on the bee species, you can get lots of other products as well. So this is where a lot of the goodies that you get from bees will come out later. But we can just start taking some of these honey drops, and if we throw our bee in there now with the honey drop, it gets analyzed, beealized, and we learn all this new stuff about the bees. So it's broken down into active and inactive traits. This is kind of like, well, it is a lot like genetics. And if you've studied any genetics yet, for every trait we have 2 chromosomes and 2 versions of that trait, and they go together, and that determines what trait we actually have. So in this case, that you can see most of these are pretty similar. In fact, maybe they're all exactly the same, but sometimes you'll get active traits different than inactive traits, and you got to breed the bees in order to get the inactives into the actives. I'll show you that as I go along, but yeah, well, I'll explain it when it's more appropriate. But now we know a lot about this forest princess. So it has a shorter lifespan. There's a whole gradient from fast to shortest, I think, or fastest to shortest. I forget exactly what all the terms are for it, but it won't live very long. In this case, that's fine because we want to breed it, so we really don't want to wait too long for the next round, so that's fine. And the production speed, that's how much honeycomb it'll make. This can be helped by adding stuff to the hives, but we'll get into that later. This is something that I'm very interested in, the pollination speed. And this, for me, mainly I'm interested in, it has to do with how fast these bees will pollinate trees and how quickly we can get to other tree species. So that's something that I care about and want to get to the top level. This is what it needs. So these bees just need flowers, and you'll see other bees that need things like cactuses or mushrooms, vines, and so on, depending on the species. Fertility is how many drones you'll get afterwards. So these will give 3 drones, how big of an area they affect, and if they have a special effect, and in this case, it's none. So why don't we go ahead and throw the apiarist chest down too, so you guys can see how this works. It basically gives you extended storage as well, and it also tells you a little bit about what you have in here. I wonder why it doesn't say we have any princesses, but you get 5 pages of storage in here, which can be helpful too, because bees don't stack. And it's telling me a little bit, but I haven't learned much about bees yet. And speaking of learning about bees, should I make a database yet? There's a number of different databases that come with this. This one has all the answers, the master one of each of these. There's the botanist, the apiarist, the arborist, with trees and genes in general. So we'll get all of these eventually. The master ones are creative only items, so I can't get those, but we can get that. Let me go ahead and throw that recipe in the carpenter. Be right back. Bee. Every time I say bee, it's a pun. Haha. There we go. I got it. Finally got it right. So we're going to let this get made. And why isn't it making? Oh, because it needs to have all the ingredients down here, and I forgot the panes. So we'll let that make. And in the meantime, I'm going to pull out some more bees out of here. I pulled out a bunch of forest drones and princesses. Let's pull out my meadow stock. So get a bunch of those girls out here. And I accidentally got an ignoble one. Don't want those. And might as well throw those out at this point because I have enough of the other kinds that I should be good. Now let's see what's in here. Okay, good. We have our apiarist database. Let me just throw these back in there. So if we look in here, all we know about so far are forest drones because we went ahead and we beealized the forest drones, and it tells you some stuff that you know, this is just kind of fluff. It's cool, but and so on. But here is where we get into that stuff. So this is all the stuff that we learned from beealizing that forest bee. And there's some other behaviors in here we'll get into later. Basically, these only work in the daytime. They need to see the sky. They need sunlight, and they won't work in the rain. So that's some more stuff we learned from them. We'll get honeycomb every 5.1 minutes, and the climates and mutations and further mutations. So let's do something interesting here. I meant to open the Bee-elizer. So let's throw one of these Meadows princesses in here. We just scanned her, got all her stats, and now if we go into the database, we have both of these. So you can see as you work with bees and you Bee-elize them, you'll build this whole database of information about them. It shows you how to make the different species and so on. So, and the way this game was meant to be played, the mini game of the bees, is that you just randomly do all this stuff. But we have so many things to do on this map. We can't just do random mutations or crossbreeding and see what we get. You know, if we were just doing vanilla Minecraft and forestry, maybe. So there's plenty of places you can look on the internet. If you just Google like Minecraft forestry breeding bees, you'll get all kinds of charts and stuff that you can look at to see which bees you need to breed with which bees to get the ones you want. So we're going to start that. And to breed bees, let me throw, which one am I going to use? Am I going to use this? Am I going to use this? Let's use this for now because it's new and we have it. So there we go. Let's get this one out of there. I just wanted to show you your different options for storing these. And I didn't do the tabs or anything like that. But so anyway, yeah, we're going to move on. So I want to figure out which of the drones I have that are going to be good for this. So if I take each of my kinds of drones here, and the different stacks basically will be different genomes, I've got that. So these are what I have to work with. Let me grab more honey drops and throw them in my Bee-elizer, and then I can check out these drones. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, these are pretty much the same. I'm not sure what the small differences are. If I looked more closely, maybe I'd see them. But we're going to breed these with our princesses. And so these are all pristine stock. Let's get about 6 hives going. What do you say? So let's get 6 of our forest princesses and 6 of our meadows princesses. It makes sense to scan everybody first. I'm going to do that real quick and see if I learn anything. I'll be right back. Okay, I went through them all, and as far as I can tell, they're all pretty much the same. All our traits are pretty much default at this point. I was just looking if anyone had any special traits that we wanted to carry on, but not yet. So it seems like it's pretty equivalent. So now we need something to raise them in, and there's a couple levels of things we can put them in. The simplest is a bee house, I think it's called, or bee box. Let me find it in here. Yes, this one right here, the bee house. And it doesn't require anything special except one comb, but there's a lot of things you can't do with the bee house. We're going to move up the next level to apiary. Now, in villages, you can find apiaries if they have a beekeeper villager. I even got one of those guys, whoops, I brought down, and he should be hanging out down there as long as he hasn't died. And we'll trade with him later for some cool stuff that we'll need. But I want to show you guys how to make an apiary if you don't have it yet. So let me grab some logs that I have a lot of. Like, I should have a whole bunch of oak logs in here somewhere. There we go. And last episode, we went ahead and we set up this squeezer making seed oil. You can't see it in here because they've all been squoze. They've all been squeezed. I've got a export bus putting any seeds that we generate from our farm back at the Rainforest Hexagon Tower and throwing them in here. And that is keeping this carpenter full of seed oil. And we've got a back stock right now of 138 buckets of seed oil. And it's taken quite a few days. It's actually been about 4 days since I've played because I've been busy working. So it takes that long, which is why I got it set up last time. But if we put these in here like this, it's the recipe for an impregnated casing. And you can't make this without seed oil. With an impregnated casing, we can then throw that in here, and then if we do apiary and get the recipe, ta-da! We can now make our own apiary. So let's grab this one that we made and take these rest of the ones that we stole from the villagers, and let's set up some bees. I'm just going to go ahead and do it right here. I think ultimately I'm going to have all my mother hives coming down the hill here, but just to make it simple for us right now, let's set some up right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, let's do 4, 5, 6 like that, and I'll move these for sure later on. So if we go ahead and we throw some bees in here, so let's throw a Meadows Princess with a Forest Drone. You'll see this bar going up, and this is basically the mating process happening here, and it turns into a Meadows Queen. Now this is her life bar, and she will live as long as this bar goes on. So it's not working right now because it's not daytime, but another problem we're going to have in the morning when it is daytime is it's going to tell us that she doesn't have flowers. So let's grab some flowers real quick. Let me see if I got any poppies. I don't. Or do I have any dandelions? Whoa, I don't. I need some basic Minecraft flowers, which I guess I've turned them all into dye. Let me go grab a few of those. There's got to be some nearby. And they'll make their own flowers as time goes on as well. But you need at least one regular Minecraft flower. I believe it's just the vanilla types in order for them to start. Okay, there we go. I got some flowers, but let me just prove it to you before I put them down. See, there it is. No flowers. So, yeah, whenever anything's not working, it will let you know like that. So we'll just put these in here, and that should be enough to get these going. And one of the coolest things I like about bees is they're going to spread flowers all over themselves. Oh, that was just a little lag in the sound. Okay. But now should be good. It takes a second before it realizes there's flowers. In the meantime, we can keep our breeding going on. So I forget which we did the princess of or not, but basically we need to move up through some different species of bees. And the way you start is you start breeding what they call the mundane kinds of bees, the ones that actually come with the world gen. And usually meadows and forests are the easiest ones to start with. And look, you can see the little particle effects. We've got bees. I don't know why, but these particle effects always really please me as well. So I like that a lot. We got those guys going. Let's get these ones going. I'm just trying to randomly go back and forth between doing the Forest Princess and the Meadows Drone and vice versa. Don't need all 6 of those. And hey, that worked out pretty good. Okay, so there we go. And now when these are done, they're going to give us a princess and some drones. And how many drones definitely depended on their fertility. But this cross will eventually create a mutation called the common bee. And we're going to need to move up from that. And we'll need to back cross the common with one of these mundane kinds of bees and keep going. And I'll try to see if I can do that all with you real quick. But yeah, the things to know are there's only certain ones that come with the world gen and you cross them. Now it's easiest to start with these two to cross because they have an easy climate that they want. Bees are very particular about where you do them. One of the reasons I chose highlands here to do these in is because highlands has normal temperature and normal humidity. And so it's an easy place to do this. Other ones need either arid or hot or cold and so on. So this is just a good generic place to do this breeding in. So one more thing we can do to help these guys out, help them create more products. I'm not sure if it helps them create more bees or not, but we need some frames to put in these hives. The frames go in here. And if I didn't make it clear before, the princess goes up here, drone goes up here, queen puts herself in, unless you have a queen to put in. All the products are going to appear here when her lifespan is done.